Hi, I'm Nicholeen Peck, and I teach all about self-government all around the world and help people improve their relationships, bonding, and communication. In this video, we're going to be talking about self-mastery for teens. So whether you're a teen or you maybe happen to know a teen, this is a great video for you to analyze what is really required for you to learn self-mastery and why you would even want it in the first place. So let's start with why self-mastery even matters. Well, do you want an edge? Do you want to get ahead in the world? Then you truly probably do want to learn self-mastery. The most powerful people in the world, the ones that develop followings, the ones that inspire other people, those are the ones who usually have taken the time to master themselves. They don't give in to every whim or desire. Instead, they focus on something deeper. They focus on principle and truth, and because of that, they lead out. I teach something called self-government. Self-government is actually a principle of freedom. So what is self-government? Self-government is being able to determine the cause and effect of any given situation and possessing a knowledge of your own behaviors so that you can control them. Now, the thing about self-government is it has to be trained. It's not something that we're usually born with. When a person learns self-government, they are introduced to the idea that they get to choose for themselves. So it's a very empowering thing. They recognize, I get to choose where I'm headed. I get to choose what I will do each moment of each day. I get to choose how I will think, how I will use my emotions, how I will talk to other people, how I will solve my problems. I get to choose. This mindset flies in the face of what is commonly taught in our world today. Many people want young people to think that they don't get to choose, that everything is happening to them, and that they are victims of their age and their circumstance. That's just not true. History is riddled with examples of people who have stepped out of their circumstances. One of my favorite stories is the story of Condoleezza Rice. Condoleezza Rice ended up becoming a leader, and she was part of the president's cabinet in the United States of America. A very wise and smart person. And she came from a background very humble, not necessarily surrounded by very educated people, but she worked hard and she achieved her full potential. She would probably even say it's not her full potential because she's the type of person that continually pushes herself forward to do greater things. She focuses on mastering her. That's power. The great people that are examples of heroes in history are not the ones who controlled others. They were the ones who controlled themselves. So what do you need to do for self-mastery? Well, whether you're an adult or whether you're a child, the story is the same. You need to analyze yourself and be brave enough to make a change in you. I know self-mastery isn't as popular nowadays, but surely there's somebody that you look up to who is an example of self-mastery. Those are the heroes that usually withstand the test of time. So how about you put in the comments someone that you look up to, someone who is an example of self-mastery and why they are an example of self-mastery. I would put, if it were up to me, one of my neighbors. Her name was Tara Skippenboard. She was my friend's mother. There was a time in my life when I didn't get along with my parents. In fact, we argued all the time. I was strong-willed, my dad was strong-willed, my mom was emotional. That was a recipe for fights and emotions flying around all the time. Because our relationship was not good, I ended up not being able to do very many things with my friends. The thing is, I just didn't understand cause and effect. If I would have recognized the power I had to fix the relationship sooner, I wouldn't have let it get so bad. You see, we all have something inside us called a relationship bank account. For parents, every time that you respect them and you follow an instruction, listen to something they have to say, that's like a deposit inside their relationship bank account. But every time you roll your eyes, have an attitude, don't honor them, that's a huge withdrawal. Now you have your relationship bank account too. And when they understand you, talk to you, listen to you, do kind things for you, those are all deposits. But when you feel like they're not understanding or they don't care, those are huge withdrawals. What I should have recognized before was that I was making withdrawals all the time and hardly ever making any deposits. My friend's mom, Tara, helped me recognize this, but she didn't explain it to me quite like that. Instead, what she did was one day we were planning a party, me and her daughter, Tara Lee, who was named after her. We decided that we were going to have a party where all of the people that we knew that were boy or girl would come together for a party. So all the youth in the area, big party, it was going to be fun. We planned all the details. And then suddenly it dawned on me, there's no way my parents are going to let me go to this. They don't even like me, I'm sure. They never let me do anything. Did they like me? Yes. Did they trust me? No. There's one bit of cause and effect I didn't recognize. And that was that if you don't do what your parents say, they don't trust you. Plain and simple. I didn't know that. And so I didn't know how to fix the trust that I had ruined with my parents. We were having this conversation and I realized I wouldn't be able to go. So I said to Tara Lee and her mom, Tara, you guys have a good time at the party, but I think I won't be going. So Tara looked at me and said, what, Nicholeen? Of course you have to go. You just helped plan the whole thing. And I said, you don't understand. There's no way that my parents are gonna let me go. We never get along. All we ever do is fight. My friend's mom looked right at me. She asked me a question. It challenged me and it changed me forever. She looked at me and she said, Nicholeen, have you ever thought of just saying okay? And I said, what? That would never work. That's what they want me to say. She said, no. You go home for 2 weeks and every time your parents tell you to do something or not to do something, say okay and be okay. Well, I knew being okay was going to be a whole lot harder than just saying okay. But I also knew it would not work, and I told her so. I said, that would never work. And she said, we'll postpone the party for 2 weeks. You go home and do that. I went home planning on proving to her that she was wrong. And the first night I went home and my mom told me I needed to do my dishes, I said okay and chose to be okay. And my parents were shocked for a couple of days. Every time they told me to do something or not to do something, I would say, okay, and I would just start doing it. I even cleaned my room. And my room was a wreck. For months, my mom had been walking by and shutting the door because she was so tired of talking about it and nothing happened to fix it. Then there was a shift. Suddenly I could do whatever I wanted. Just about. I mean, within reason, of course. Suddenly they trusted me. I felt it. It felt different. I remember my dad standing in front of our church congregation and talking about how grateful he was that I had fixed our relationship. Me, the kid. I had honored our roles. And it made a huge difference. I chose to follow their instructions. Just a simple okay and having a good attitude made a huge difference. I chose self-mastery. I chose to completely change myself. And my relationship changed after that. My mom started checking me out from school just to go to like Nordstrom's half-yearly sale and go shopping, just because she wanted to hang out with me. When before, we didn't do anything together. We mostly avoided each other, really. It was a big shift, and it was healing. And I had done it because I chose to master myself. So self-mastery is possible. It doesn't matter your age. But when you're in your teen years, your prefrontal cortex is more developed than it was a bit before. So it's actually easier for you to see the logic behind what you're doing or not doing. When my neighbor posed that question to me, suddenly the logic hit me. Oh yeah, you know what? She was right. I chose to say okay and to be okay, and then things changed. It was me that did it. I picked it. I recognized I chose to be happy. I picked it. I chose so many things at that formative age in my life. I was 14 at the time. My life completely shifted. From age 14 and a half on out, the whole rest of my time at home, I was best friends with my parents. Those people that I used to fight with, because suddenly I was using skills that really worked. They were really understanding and caring, because actually they cared all the way along, but they just were worn out because I wore them out. And we developed a relationship that stands the test of time, that to this day we get together and do fun activities together. We have a real solid foundation for a forever family. So there are skills that I teach in the Teaching Self-Government Parenting program. There are skills that parents need and that children need and teens need. Everyone needs these skills. The 4 skills are following instructions, accepting no answers and criticism, accepting consequences, because if you don't choose to accept your consequences, you'll really never learn self-mastery. A person, in order to govern themselves, has to acknowledge when they did something wrong and fix it, right? And then the 4th one is disagreeing appropriately. That 4th skill is learning how to talk to somebody in a respectful way, being understood, but not being controlling. That can be hard to figure out, but there are certain steps to it. So definitely stay tuned for my next video, which is communication hacks for teens, parents, and teachers. And that's going to help you learn more about how to disagree appropriately, as well as other things.